It's on the Pregnancy Nurse if you want to read it. And it is called Advocating for Yourself in Labor, although on social media, a lot of places I'm calling it How to Not Get Bullied in Labor, because I think a lot of people worry about that. The reason I wrote this post is that I asked in my Facebook group what people were nervous about for their upcoming delivery, and they said, let me read the things. A lot of people said they were worried about not getting what they wanted in labor. People said things like not being vocal enough about my wants and preferences, feeling like I'll be dismissed, staff not following my wishes, providers passively ignoring my wants and requests for my delivery, and then bullying me with my preferences. Tell me if that's something you're worried about. Tell us in the comments. Not being listened to or told things and ignoring their questions. And while I want to say the truth that most people don't end up feeling this way about their delivery, I do know that a lot of people end up feeling this way about their delivery, and that's not what we want at all. And I know that because this is something I've done for so long, I can teach you guys how to not have it happen for you. But before we get started, hello, I'm Hillary. I'm the pregnancy nurse. I've been a nurse since 1997. I have 20 years of labor and delivery experience. I am the pregnancy nurse, and I am the creator of the online prenatal class for couples, the easy way to get prepared for birth. So I'm so excited that you guys are here to talk about how to get what you want in labor. And tell us in the comments if you're concerned at all about getting what you want in labor, because I don't want that for you guys. So the first thing that people need to do, hold on, I got to pull up Instagram to check their comments as well. The first thing is really to get prepared. It is a lot of people think they can just watch a few social media videos, and I am telling you that you are cherry picking what you are learning about if that is how you're doing it. And a lot of people don't want to learn some of the hard truths in labor and delivery. They don't want to learn about some of the hard things that we have to talk about. So take a class, get prepared, get totally prepared. That is going to make you come into labor as an educated patient who's ready to advocate for themselves. And that's really going to show when you're trying to get your thoughts known. So tell me in the comments if you've taken a class, if you're going to take a class, ask me questions if you have questions about my class. I'm not saying you have to get prepared in my class. I'm saying take a high quality birth class. And I'm not so sure that those are at the hospitals anymore, because the hospital that I used to work at, they took theirs online, and I've heard it's super boring and pretty expensive. So I'm not sure I recommend even hospital classes anymore. Okay, so you've gotten your prenatal class, but you're in this situation. And I got to say, people just aren't good. They feel very confrontational with this. Tell me in the comments if you're like, I don't know how to ask my doctor something that they're ignoring me or something like that. It's not a good feeling. So if you're like tongue tied and you're just not sure, the one thing you can always fall back on is why, right? So they come in the room and they're like, we want to break your water. And you're like, I wasn't expecting this. I'm not prepared for this. I don't know if I want this. The thing you can do is say, why? Why would you want to break my water? Now, your provider should be asking, like telling you why when they come in. Hey, I'm Dr. Blah, blah. I think we would like to break your water. You're 6 centimeters, and I feel like you've kind of stalled out, and breaking your water, I think will speed you along. Hey, I'm Dr. Blah, blah, and I break everybody's water before office hours on weekdays. That's probably more of the truth. So, yeah, ask why. Okay, the next thing you can do is learn how to say no in ways that feel comfortable for you, right? Saying things like, I'm not comfortable with that. I think not yet. I think I'm good for now, right? All of these are very easy ways to say, I don't think so. Okay, that's great info, but I think I'm going to choose XYZ now, right? Great info. I think I understand why you want to break my water, but I think I'm good for now, right? Or I may need a little time to think about it. For right now, I think it's a no. Okay? Because that leaves it open if you want to change your mind. You may want to have your water broken later. That's fine. People are like, I can't ever change my mind about the choices that I made in labor. And that's not true at all. You can always change your mind. Guys, we're ladies. Well, most of us are. So yeah. Okay, the next thing, you guys you're not going to want to hear this one, but death is always on the table. And a lot of times I hear doctors go in the room and they're like, well, if you don't get your water broken now, there's a chance that you or your baby could die. Now they're usually not doing that on breaking your water, but I have heard doctors say if you don't have the C-section, which me as a nurse feels like doesn't need to happen right now, there's a chance that you or your baby could die. And I'm here to tell you that when you got in your car to go to the hospital, there's a chance that you and your baby could die. When you got pregnant, there's a chance that you and your baby could die. So I think it's really important to know that that's sort of like always on the table, even though you don't want to think about it. We should not be consumed by this. And Rosa, are you saying, oh, you're talking about high blood pressure. I'll get to questions here in a minute. Keep asking your questions. That's fine. A good informed consent should end in you and your baby could die. I mean, that could happen in a C-section. We're not planning on it. It is not a possibility. It can happen with an epidural. I've worked with anesthesiologists who every informed consent ended with, or you and your baby could die, which I would just tell my patients that it was going to end that way because there is always a chance. But when providers come in talking that way, it really scares people. And I hate that. So I think it's really important for you guys to know it could have happened when you got in your car. Can you imagine if our cars told us when we got in, if you ride this Kia Sonata or whatever the names of cars are, I'm not using Kia Sonata. I don't want them to sue me, but there is a chance that you or your baby could die if you were pregnant, right? That's how informed consent would go if everybody was giving it correctly. So when it comes up, I don't want you guys to be alarmed by it. Let's see if we have any questions. Feel free to ask questions in the comments or tell me you're hating this live. Okay, the next thing that you can do is ask if you need to make a choice right now or if you can wait, right? I think that's a really easy one to do. And a lot of times it feels like sort of a high pressure situation. Like you have to decide right now. In some ways, I sort of feel like it's like a car dealership where they want you to make a choice right now. Like they're sliding the paper. You know what I'm saying? And you can just say, is everything okay? Or is it okay that if I wait? And then the last one that I think is really awesome if you're just like, I am not sure, is to take a restroom trip. So if your provider comes in and say, I want to break your water, you can always say, oh, I need to run to the restroom, because they're probably not going to stop you. Although I have had providers that are like, oh, really? Like, let me just break it first. I'm like, no. And when you get up to the restroom, likely your nurse is going to follow you in there, and you could ask the nurse if they have any thoughts on what they're wanting to do, right? You can just get their input, because honestly, nurses can't give full-chested input in front of the doctors for the most part. If we think that C-section really isn't warranted, we can't say that behind their backs. I mean, I can roll my eyes, but it's hard to really do that. So a lot of times taking a restroom break, seeing if your nurse can come chitty chat while you're in there, can really help. So the final truth for all this is that there is just not one right answer in labor. You know, you may want to get your water broken, or you may not want to get your water broken. You may want to tap out and get a C-section, or you may not want to get a C-section. There is not there's not like one right answer. This is not a multiple choice question thing that has one right answer. I feel like I'm really dark. So I don't want you guys to feel like, oh, I'm going to get this wrong, because really the answer is based on you, your personal preferences, your personal priorities, all those different things. So I never want people to feel like I am getting this choice wrong. And believe me, Hillary in nursing school got many choices wrong. Not a test taker over here. So let me wind this all up for you. Number one, make sure that you're taking a birth class so that you can be an informed and educated patient. That really makes talking to providers in the hospital so much easier. Number two, start making choices right now. Start making choices at your prenatal checkups. If you have a hard time making choices, start making them at the salon. Start making them with the plumber that comes in, right? Don't let them like push you into something. Really make your own choices. Number three, I ask you to employ the 3 W's. Why? Wait. Wonder. Why, wonder, and then wait. So why are you doing this? And then you're going to wonder, you're going to get curious about it rather than feeling like you're getting pushed into something. You're just going to get curious about it. And then you're going to wait. Like if you still can't make up your mind, you'll ask them if it's okay that you wait. But I need you guys to understand that the bus in labor and delivery, I always do a driving analogy, it ends up having to get driven because you're in the hospital, you're taking up a bed, you're taking up a nurse. And so we have to sort of make choices. Part of that is why I tell you guys it's best to stay home as long as possible, because once you get to the hospital, we have to start driving the bus. We have to start making choices. You know, a lot of times you're just in labor and that works out fine. But sometimes if labor stalls, then we sort of have to make a choice, you know, are we going to go home or are we going to induce, things like that. And so when the bus gets going, you get into labor and delivery, either you're going to drive it or we start to just kind of drive our regular route that our bus has been assigned. And then we see how it goes from there. So those are my best tips on choices in labor and delivery. Come join me in the online prenatal class for couples where you can feel educated and supported and prepared to make these kind of choices in the hospital. Yeah, so that is it on choices. If you guys have any questions, ask me in the comments. I have a few more minutes to hang out with you guys. Rosa said, when you have high blood pressure or high protein in the last weeks, when would they induce? It happened in my last 2 pregnancies. It just depends on how high your blood pressure is, how high the other things are, if it's controlled with blood pressure medications. Also, are you taking aspirin, Rosa? Hopefully. That would be indicated if you'd had high blood pressure in previous pregnancies. Elizabeth says, I am trying to work after having my son. Hopefully that's going well for you. I know that can be difficult sometimes. Not every time. I actually really enjoyed going back to work, especially on my 3rd, because it had been a lot of children. Rosa said, yes, taking it now. So for anybody who doesn't know, they are now recommending aspirin to be taken starting in your first trimester if you have a family history of preeclampsia, or if you've previously had it, or you have other risk factors. So I have a whole post on the Pregnancy Nurse if you're looking for more information on that, but it's so smart. And if you have risk factors for high blood pressure or preeclampsia, and honestly, your provider should be talking to you about it overall, because he doesn't know that your sister had preeclampsia. So that's something that you want. Let me know if you have any more questions. Elizabeth said, do you know when is a good time to work again after having your baby? I mean, when you have to go back to work, it just sort of depends. I don't know if you're in the US. A lot of people have to go back pretty early on, which is a bummer. But for me, we needed the money. So I went back to work. You're in California. So I had babies in California. You usually get, 4 weeks before and then 12 weeks after if you've paid into the state disability long enough. So check with your HR department, unless like you're looking to get a new job. Usually they recommend 6 to 12 weeks and then you can go back to work. I have a C-section scheduled for 2 weeks from now because baby is breech, Joe, but now I think she might have flipped. Do I need the C-section? No. So if baby does flip, which sometimes they do, then you would not need a C-section. Joe, I would call your provider and see if they can see you in the office. I'm guessing you have an appointment coming up soon, because usually at the end of pregnancy you do have stuff like that. So hopefully baby flipped. I absolutely love that. And actually, I always make the provider do an ultrasound scan at the C-section if we're doing it for a breech baby, because I want to know before we cut. And most providers want to do that too. Elizabeth said she doesn't know if she work right now, but I'm trying to work again. Yeah, so probably 12 weeks. I have a Goblin shot with 2 miscarriages. Sorry. I don't know too much about miscarriages or what that medication is, but I am sorry about the miscarriages. So if she flipped, would they cancel the surgery, or is it still safe or necessary to do so? If they flipped, then they would cancel it, because the reason they're doing it is because baby was breech. And so now if they're head down, they would plan for vaginal delivery, would be the hope. Elizabeth said she had the same issue with a C-section. So yeah, it's not super uncommon. And a lot of times provider offices will call us in labor and delivery and cancel that C-section because baby flipped. And we're all very happy. Our goal is for people to have a vaginal delivery just because it's safer and it protects like having future babies later on if you want it. Anyway, thank you for coming to my live. It was really nice to have everybody here. If there's no other questions, I guess I'm going to end it. Oh, because your placenta didn't move. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. All right. I hope everybody has a good night. Happy Thursday, and we will talk with you all later.